I have GFM here. That is Gold, Frankincense, and Myrrh. And they are a new breed rising in the hardcore metal scene. If you didn't guess from the name of the band, they are a faith-based band, and they hail from Jacksonville, Florida. GFM's musical journey started in 2016, and since that time, their song "Taking Over" went to #1 on the Christian Music Weekly chart for 4 weeks in a row. Their song "Graveyard of Identities" went to #6 on the Billboard Christian Hard Rock chart, and another song, "On the Inside," went to #9 on that same chart. They've also started their own genre called Beautycore, and we're going to talk about that. GFM is currently celebrating a spot on the extensive tour with Chris Jericho and Fozzy, and the release of a new EP called Operation Takeover. Whew, man, you guys are busy. That's really cool. And I want to introduce each of you as well. We have CJ on vocals and guitar. We have Maggie on bass, keyboards, and vocals, and LuLu with 2 capital L's, right? on drums. This Save the World tour, it's big for you guys. It really is. Chris Jericho and Fozzy, you've played shows with them, or at least once before. You had to impress them because they had, from what I understand, invited you personally to be on this tour with them. Tell me how that went down with Chris, and how you found out about the tour.
Yeah, so we were on our summer tour and we were headlining it. We were going through ourselves, like doing festival runs, and we were playing in Wisconsin. And it was Brat Days, and they were headlining it. And so we were playing, and the whole band actually came out and watched us. And it was just really cool because we look back at side stage and they're all there, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. And so we're playing our show. And then right when we go to the merch table, we were talking to people, and then our mom was like, you have to tell everyone that you'll be right back because you have to meet someone. And we're like, okay. So we go backstage and he's there and he was like, you guys, it's so great. He's like, we got to stay in contact. Like everyone says that. So we're like, okay, you know what? Like, you're a really cool guy. So we'll do that. And like hoping for the best, maybe he'll reach out to us. Maybe we'll play again sometime. And then a couple weeks later, we get a call, or our mom gets a call. She's our manager. And she was on, we were driving to our next show, and she pulls over. We're on the highway. She's like, go. She's like, everyone, be quiet. And we're like, okay. And she's like, you're not going to believe who just messaged me and wants to call. And we're like, oh my goodness. And it kind of took off from there. He introduced us to our now booking agent, and now we're on the tour, and he just opened a lot of doors for us. So we're super grateful for opportunities that he helped get us to.
Yeah, that is something. That's a really great opportunity for you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you and photographing you. I'm a photographer as well, so on April 2nd, I get to go to that show. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah. Now, you mentioned your mom is your manager. God bless her for it. I have one girl. I have one girl your age, and getting her to go in the direction I ask is like herding cats. So having 3 doing what you guys do, she is very good at it, no doubt. It's got to be fun for you guys to have mom around, and your dad's very involved. I know that, but it has to be difficult sometimes, right? To have mom around all the time and telling you what you need to do and where you need to go. And what's the most difficult part of having your mom as your manager?
We had to learn to have communication and adapt and split the mom and business manager. And we were kind of trained up into the business side of things and having that factual kind of differing. So we were blessed in that, but it was difficult growing up in the years. We were teenagers, and we definitely went through those rebellion stages of I don't want to do that. But we realized that if we want to do this as a family and together and continue to prosper, we had to be able to like set aside our differences and kind of come to an understanding, and not just one time, but multiple times through each thing, because we're all
kind of
stubborn.
something you choose to do every day, especially on tour. I think one of the other things that's hard is that she also drives our tour van, and so
she does pretty much a lot.
She does a lot, and you're
She
seeing
does.
her mom, like, do a lot, and she barely sleeps. So there's definitely times where you want, as you seeing your mother do all this work, you're like, hey, we like slow down, like let someone drive, like you need to sleep, you need to take a rest. And she's very business oriented, so she wants to go, and she knows what she needs to get done. So she's like, oh, I can like, hang on, just let me finish this. It's like, you need to sleep, woman. Go to bed.
Be more fighter to slow down than to keep going. So, but she's we call her a big bulldog. So a lot of people can't handle her. So
she's not willing,
she's
not afraid to fight for us and stuff, which is really cool. It's definitely something. Communication was the hardest thing for us to learn, but now that we have kind of gotten that under our belts, there's still areas where we're having to learn. Oh, we could use some improvement here with our communication, but that's definitely helped us a lot, learning how to like word things in a way that each side can understand, and each side can tell what we're needing from each other. And like if we're needing the mom in this area, or if we're needing manager to go like yell at somebody for us, it's definitely like you got to learn how to word things so people understand things. But it's really cool because there's that bond that you can tell her anything, and I don't think you can. There's a lot of people who are like, I tell my manager everything. So if there's something that bothered you at a show, like you can let her know, and she's like there for you. And if there's someone bothering you at the show, she can take care of it. So.
Yeah. You know, and that's great that you guys recognize that too. That, you know, she is working hard, and it's not an easy task. And, you know, it's great that that's in your mind, what she's doing there. It's fantastic to see too. I notice I've heard you say that everybody is heavily involved in the writing process for you guys. And you like to bring in outside writers to do some things, to give the songs a different perspective. Walk me through a song. You know, you sit down, you say, we're going to write some new stuff. You know, how does that go for you? Do you just get in a room and jam, you know, what lyric wise, how does that all work?
It's kind of different almost every single time, which is something that we love and thrive for, because it is easily like you can burn out of it pretty quickly. If it's the same thing over and over with anything, you just get burnt out. And so it's something we kind of like to make different. And especially when you're inviting new people on to work with you, it's always going to be different because it's new people and people work differently. And so it's kind of finding different aspects. We have a lot of lyric stuff that's already backed up. So like when we're ready to write, we already have notebooks full of lyrics, full of song ideas.
If anything, it's our lyrical content is us. We try to push for, like Lou was saying, we invite new people in to create those new experiences so it can have new music. So,
or there's like songs, like we would love the guitar to sound like this, but we either don't have time to like sit down and figure out how like to play it out or record it or anything. We'll just pull out like our phone for like voice memos and like hum it and then send that to whoever we're writing with, and they'll be like, okay, I got it. And we'll be like, this is what the chorus should sound like, and they'll be like, okay, let me figure out if I can get a verse that goes with this, and then we'll just keep sending ideas back and forth like that. Or if we're in person, we'll just show them.
That's why it's always so difficult to answer that question, because our goal is to make it different each song we write with. And it's not just we write like 50 songs and then we pick 10 for the album or EP. No, we dedicate each new experience to each new song.
Man, that makes for a great musical landscape when you're listening to the record. You know, it never gets boring.
That's our goal.
It's great. It really doesn't. They're fun records to listen to. Those outside writers, are they always the same people? Do you use a lot of the same people?
We definitely have a general area of people that we really enjoy writing with, but we always are looking for like new people and new experiences that, like if we meet with someone and they're like have the same kind of goals or music style writing that we want, or something maybe that we don't have a similar music style writing or genre, and we want to like incorporate that into it. So,
or even like the people that we've been comfortable with writing, they either aren't in the music industry anymore, or they introduced us to different people as well. So it's something like we write with our producer who did Oh the Horror and Operation Takeover, Eric Barnell. We were writing with him a lot, and we loved the way that we like meshed together. But he stepped out of the business for a second, but he also introduced us to someone like Kellen McGregor from Memphis Mayfly. We wrote our song Where Were You with him. And then we wrote a couple songs with J.R. Barres from Love and Death, and he introduced us to Noah from Pillar. And so we wrote with him on this newest thing. And it's just this like spider web of people when you start meeting like your little inner circle of writers, and then they're like, hey, this person would love to write with you, or they're looking for open spots with writing things. Do you have an availability? It's like, yeah, okay. And so then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
So we have like our comfort picks, but there's definitely, we always want to go outside of the box and have, like we said, those new experiences, at least one for every record. Like we want there to at least be one new experience.
Yeah, that makes it really an entertaining thing to listen to have that different input for sure. The cheerleader outfits, I notice all these endorsements that you have, and so many great endorsements that you've gotten, and that Mom, I'm sure, has worked to get for you guys, and yourselves as well, probably. One of them being a cheerleader outfit company, which is brilliant, and I love the way the look you have on stage and everything. Whose idea was the cheerleader thing?
It was Mom. Yeah. Mom, because in our first kind of introing into playing music, being us three sisters, GFM, we just wore dresses, because when we first did it, we were wearing like all leather and all black, and we just figured like this wasn't us. And we were trying to like be something that we weren't, but we
felt like posers.
Yeah, we felt like posers. We're like, we love dressing up and being girly, and having that contrast of Maggie like screaming super low and having that like really in your face energy. So we want to do that. But then we were ending up buying a bunch of different outfits and having new stuff, and we just never figure out what we wanted to wear because we wanted to all match kind of. And my mom was like, well, what if we went the like school team route, because when we first did cheerleading forums, like I was still a sophomore in high school, and like she was in middle school, and no, you were in like 6th grade.
I think you were in elementary, I was in middle school.
Yeah, and so like, what if we did like a school team kind of aesthetic? And so we did cheerleading uniforms, and that's why our fan base is called Team GFM, and so we're the cheerleaders for our fans. And then that kind of encompassed to a lot of different avenues we could do with merch. Like we've done hockey jerseys, football jerseys, baseball jerseys, bowling, track jerseys, a bunch of different stuff. So it was just really cool to kind of pull off of that.
Yeah. And we weren't sponsored by them at first. It was very much like we would order the shells on the Amazon,
made all of them,
and like DIY the patches that said GFM. And I guess they saw it because they reached out to us on Instagram, and we're like, oh my word, we love to make you like actual custom ones, so you don't have to keep making them yourself. We're like, oh, that's super cool. And I was like, they're probably embarrassed by the way they look right now, but
that is just brilliant. I mean, it's absolute genius. It's great for sure. A bowling shirt with GFM on it. How cool would that be? Very cool.
Yeah, we have matching, like when we do interviews, they're like for us matching. We haven't sold them yet.
Very cool. Now I hear you have a brother as well. You ever think about putting him in a cheerleading uniform?
Oh, he'd kill us. He would never.
He would actually kill us.
He used to come run merch for us when we played locally, but it's been so long since we've played local. Yeah. We actually just played our first like local show in like 4 years, I think a month ago, and he got to come.
But he's a grown up. He's getting married.
Yeah, so he's not able to wear merch anymore. He lost our merch.
Now you guys are 3-piece, and I know that can be difficult musically because you've got a lot to do each person. That's a challenge, especially in the live setting. Now I notice on some of your live videos that Maggie will put down the bass. Do you track the bass in the live setting when you guys do that?
Yeah, when I put the bass down, we have a track bass, so it's something like I recorded in the studio. We just lay it over that so I can put it down. But then once I pick it back up, it's definitely me playing it.
Yeah. Did you ever think about getting a fourth member?
We thought about it for like
coming.
a split second, but we realized the importance of having like our
core.
Yeah, our core, our what were we talking about
kind
yesterday?
of like one unit together, and the like was it
I know there's like a specific
like
word.
synergy.
I guess like our connection. Oh, that's what I'm trying to think of. Our connection we have on stage, and we've just been playing together so much. We have honed in like, and not necessarily just like feelings wise, but when you are like one with someone and you kind of see same page and you agree with each other, there's just like that energy where it's just like a positive kind of avenue.
You're both kind of are all running the same race,
yeah,
going for the same goal.
Yeah. So when we play live, when I turn around and I see LuLu like smiling, playing, it just brings so much joy. And then we were talking in another interview, like what was my favorite thing of playing in GFM. And I remember like playing a show when this is the first time it happened, and Maggie's usually on, was it the right side?
I'm on the right side. Yeah.
You're on the right side, I'm on the left side, and we'll switch, but it was like, I knew for a second, I was like, well, I'm going to have to jump back up because I'm going to fall into Maggie because I know that I miscalculated where she was, and she turned immediately.
You're so in sync.
Yeah, in sync, that's what I was trying to think of. And I looked at her, I was like, oh my word, that's really crazy. Like she sensed what I was going to do. And then we like locked eyes and we're like, yes. And then we kept playing.
Yeah. We have friends who come on tour with us sometimes, and they'll either pick up a guitar or they'll pick up my bass when I put it down and come on stage. And it feels so weird having a fourth person on stage.
Let's get off stage.
It's so weird. It's like, yeah, it's fun, but it's very weird. So once you're done, please put that back.
Yeah, and there is a synergy with being sisters as well. My wife has 3 other sisters, and when they get in a room, it's it's them against the world.
Yeah. Our mom she says the same thing about us all the time. She's like, she cannot follow the conversation at all because we're not even finishing the sentences. We're catching up because we already know what they're talking about, and so it's like, yeah, but what about this? And she's like, you didn't even finish the sentence. How do you know what's going on?
It's funny. We have like our own kind of language, and not like fully, but especially when you're playing shows and you can't hear it all, you have to like somewhat create not like sign language, but cues, and also like read lips and then expression too. And it's really funny because we're having full on conversations and it doesn't make sense.
Our dad gets so like nervous because I'll go up to Lou and I'll be talking about like what we're gonna eat for dinner, and he's like, focus on the show. What are you doing? It's like we're back here like, yo, you see that person in the crowd? He's going crazy.
And that's great too. I'm familiar with another new band. They're young ladies like you in Plush, and they're so calm before a show. I mean, they'll be walking around doing something, and they're on in 5 minutes. And it's like and it's great to see that. It's great that you're just so confident in what you do, and you're confident in the skill level that you'll be able to pull it off. It has to help with enjoying yourself out there too.
Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't say we're calm, but we're definitely hyping each other up, and we love just like having parties and like making anything a party, really. So we'll be like listening to music and jamming and hyping each other up, and
we make each other confident. That's the key, because we're always so nervous before a show. And we've had things go out, and not necessarily if there's a bunch of people, it's like our equipment will go out or like something will go wrong.
Equipment, literally, it hurts my stomach to think about it not working.
I know, I'm like,
we'll be like in a place and something sounds like the track skipping, or something sounds like a click track, and it like brings you back to that moment. You're like, we gotta get out of here. I'm getting nervous.
Yeah.
You Cupcakes. I hear that I might get hit with a cupcake on the second. Mom's idea again?
That was my idea, because it started 2 years ago when I turned 19 in 2020.
Wait, no, you turned 19 in 2018.
It was one of your birthdays.
No, it was 2019 when I turned. I can't remember.
It was one of your birthdays.
It was one of those years.
Whenever we played
I was thinking
Metal
2020 because I turned 20.
Yeah.
And we were playing Metal of the Mountains, and we were playing on my birthday, June 1st, and I was like, I want to throw a cake in the crowd because it was a festival outside. And my mom was like, that's a bad idea. We're not doing that. And I was like, come on, man. And she's like, well, we can do cupcakes. And we were like, okay. And so we were playing, and the stage manager was like, I want to throw some cupcakes. And we're like, okay. And
because we were actually a song like late because we ran into technical issues. And literally like we were so freaked out, and then we finally got everything working. So we were running late.
We got everything to where we could play.
Yeah, to where we could play. So we're gonna cut the last song because we throw them on "Give Me a Sign," and so we're like, oh well, I guess we can't play it. And the stage manager runs back on, and she's like, no. I want to throw the cupcakes. Get back up on there and play the last song. We're like, we're gonna throw it from behind. She's like, I don't care. I run the stage. Get back up there. I want to throw them. Everyone's just throwing cupcakes.
And that started a giant like movement of that song. And then we played a festival called Life Fest. And we had people coming up to us and saying that they're cupcake warriors, and they would take the cupcakes and smear it on their face like war paint.
Yeah.
Nice.
And where Cupcake Warrior became a thing.
Cupcake Survivor.
And it was so cool that like now every show we play, if it's outside the real cupcakes and if it's inside, they're fake. But on the outside,
this one on the inside ones, we got a ton of the like little Debbie wrapped ones, so they're real, but they're completely individually wrapped, so we can throw them.
Actually, it's LuLu's new kit.
Yeah. But on the outside ones, when we throw real ones, it's cool to see people. Like it kind of makes you like icky because you're like, oh, it's so hot. Why are you doing that? But they're like all over their face, all over their arms, on each other, and like,
it's like a badge of honor to have some sort of like smear and like a stain on you, and then they'll bring it to the next show and be like, look, I couldn't get it out of my shirt in the wash and stained.
Yeah, it's really cool. And now I have my new SJC kit. They made an entire cupcake kit for us to take on our Fozzy tour. It lights up, and it's a giant cupcake. So wherever we go, we will have them with us.
That was so cool, and there is a video of the unboxing. It's just a super cool kit. I can't wait to see it. It's really, really great. If this musical journey ended tomorrow for you, do you have? I always ask this of the younger people that I interview. Do you have a plan B? Is there an alternative career path for you? Because the music business is hard, and you guys are killing it right now. I mean,
we're very big in having backups and even just like options, because they wanted us to have options in life. They wanted us to be able to not just feel stuck in one thing. So we all, they have their college degrees. She's going for your doctor's.
I'm going for a master's right now.
And then I have my AA, and then in 2 years I will have my degree. And so we all have degrees in different things that just interest us. And so we do have backup plans, and we do know that the music industry can come and go at any time, and it's not really a secure thing, but it is a passion right now, and we're blessed to be able to do it with financial backing. So we're happy to do it as long as God takes us and allows us to keep going. And
LuLu's a streamer, so
we started streaming. CJ started a garden, and there's just a ton of stuff that we have our options open. So not even just with our like college backgrounds, we have different areas where we would love to like expand our like work knowledge and stuff. If the band just decided to like stop at any moment, like we have different options that we would love to like continue and experiment with.
But we also feel very secure and accomplished in what we have done, because we do it for the passion of sharing our truth and sharing the gospel, because we are all Christians and a positive message band, and we feel secure and accomplished in what we've been able to do and the community we've been able to kind of create. And there's so many people now that even if the band was done and gone, those people would still have each other, and they have that core, and they have friends, and they've made friends because like, oh, well, I like GFM, I like Jim. What else do you like? Oh, I like this thing. I like this thing. So it's kind of like being able to bring people together and being able to share our truth and pray with people. And there's some people we still are in contact with from shows, and we keep up with them, and we feel very secure in what we've accomplished. And if it were to end tomorrow, I don't think any of us have any regrets or anything that's like, man, if only we like did this. We feel like accomplished in it, and it's a really cool feeling, and we're really blessed to be able to do that, because that's not a thing a lot of bands can say, especially because it's such a saturated market that there's not a lot of bands that get the opportunities that we are able to get at our stage of like growth. So we feel very like happy with what we've been able to do, and we want to do it as long as possible. But
or you get stuck into the nothing's ever good enough, and then you work yourself to death.
Yeah.
That was the thing we had to help with each other and realize and create a new perspective and celebrate like the little things.
Yeah. And I think that's something that our parents were a really big part of, because our dad was always reminding us to celebrate the small things, because you only get your first tour one time, you only get your first album one time, your first sponsor one time. And he even told us, like, once we got this Fozzy tour and everything, he's like, just in case anything happens, I want you girls to know how proud I am of you, like how accomplished like you guys are. And he's like, I don't know if you completely understand like how much you've done as a band, but I hope you never feel like you've regretted anything, because me and your mom are so proud of everything you've done so far. And like, you have made it to us. And like, even if it doesn't go anywhere past this, like, you made it to us. So just having our parents support that much and that strongly is, I think, another thing that's really helped us create our mindset and not focus so much on like every little like tiny thing that's building up, because if you get focused on like the numbers or like the growth and like how many views you get, like it does get
in the
to a burnout point. So being able to take a step back from that's really important.
Definitely. And you know, I hear that story of, you know, your dad giving you that kind of praise and being so proud. It really warms my heart, because I have, you know, two kids your age, 24 and 22 tomorrow. She's, especially my girl, is, you know, she looks for that, and it really is important to her, and to my son. So you know, it's great to hear that. Not everybody gets that. You guys are very lucky to have parents so supportive. That's great. What is the most difficult part of the industry for you guys so far?
There is, I guess the biggest thing is juggling it all, because we wanted to stay independent as long as possible, to be able to not necessarily just have control, but be able to
like build our image, build our brand, and make it something that is ours before we give it over to somebody else,
or invite someone else,
to like So
and in that self, there is
like
so
marketing, PR, like booking, distribution, and like all of that you have to deal with yourself. And so
social media,
you're juggling all of this, all of these different like hats and everything, and so it's difficult to keep track of everything. And so like there's been areas where releases have gone out on the wrong time, where different songs have been released and like, oh, that was not supposed to happen. And so it's difficult, because you're like, you beat yourself up with those little tiny mistakes, but through those you learn like how to work together, how to adapt, how to overcome these things, and like communicate with your fans and be like, okay, well, this is a few days late, but like, let's keep the excitement until this comes out like fully. And you learn like how to properly promote things, how to properly produce things,
and kind of how to like recognize it and let yourself feel the things of like, oh, that was a mistake. There's no sense of beating yourself up over it, because we are humans.
Yeah, and learning to get help, and that's something we've had to learn, like, to spread out the work through all of us, and not only just us, but our parents as well. They're really involved with a lot of the different aspects of it, and so if everybody is carrying their part, then it's not like solely relying on one person, and so then it's easier to get things out at the right time and to like get posts out and to like make things perform the best way possible.
Yeah. Do you ever worry that you'll miss out on some experiences, you know, or you know, they will happen, but perhaps get in the way of things, you know, marriage, buying houses, boyfriends, you know, your higher education, things like that, you know, these normal life experiences that, you know, most people have. You know, you guys are all together now. You're going to get older and maybe come apart a little bit, not you know, in your hearts, but you know, if physically move to different places or something like that, or find people and separate a little bit. Is that ever a worry for you?
Yeah, I mean, we're continually growing up. So like we were saying, we can't have just one big communication talk. There are several talks because we're continually changing. We're continually having like differences that we want to go in each direction, because we're all very similar, but we have big differences in our lives.
Well,
And
it is something that we did miss out on growing up, because we were very much like a little bit secluded from our like school people that we went to school with and stuff. And then when the band took off, we pulled out to go homeschool, and so we had to grow up really quickly. And we didn't have phones. We weren't allowed to date. We weren't allowed to like go to friends' parties and all that stuff. We didn't get our driver's license till like we were 19. Lou's still working on hers. And so like the schooling has never been an issue that we've missed out on, because it actually gives us something to do when we're touring, and keeps us busy and stuff. But there definitely were like the normal teenage things that we missed out on because we had to grow up so fast. And I think we're blessed to be able to be doing that stuff now with each other. And like,
that's true.
So it's a little bit like we're late bloomers, but
I would say that there is a lot of society pressure to, at 18 you do this, and at 20 you do this, and at 25 you're getting engaged, and at 30 you're having kids, you have a house. And I think what's important to realize and remember is, as the generations go on and time goes on, even I would say like it doesn't have to really do with generations, but I think people are now realizing and accepting that your life doesn't have to look like the cookie cutter life, and it doesn't have to be lived out how everyone else wants you to live out
have your
life.
own schedule.
You can get married at 80, and that can be your first like time being with someone.
Right.
To say like, for someone to be like, oh, that's so weird. Why? It's not your life. And so I think the whole, like, people ask us a lot, oh, you're missing out on like the normal life, getting to do the normal teenage things. Who says what I'm doing can't be normal? Like, just because we're not living the typical life doesn't mean we're not living a normal one. Like, we're all living normal lives. We're doing normal things. Like, just because we go play on stage, that's not any different from someone else's job that they do. That's what they love to do, and it's what we love to do. So it's not necessarily like, yes, of course you could focus on, oh, what am I missing out on? Oh, I don't get to do this, or I have to go tour, so I don't do this. That's where the negative thoughts start to play in, and you give them the energy. Obviously, it's going to take a toll on your mental. But to look at life as, hey, this is my life. I'm going to live it however it plays out and however I choose. And if it's being in a band and living that out, see how that goes, meeting people, including them in with the band or like within the process, then that's how it goes. And I think too many people put pressure on numbers, like certain ages and certain accomplishments, and like you have to get your degree by this age. And it's kind of putting a lot of pressure on yourself to be the perfect person. And when you realize that can't happen, it takes a lot of mental pressure off of yourself, because then you realize, hey, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to not be living the cookie cutter life, because that's not your life. Your life is the one you choose to make it. So I definitely think we have all kind of encompassed that idea. And we all have like our own life that's different from GFM, because if we didn't, that would be very terrible.
I think that's
Hey.
we've all three gone through the same experience, and so we helped each other grow and learn from that.
Yeah.
And so since it wasn't just one person, it was all of us coming together, and like we've had talks about that, and really it's helped us overcome like those feelings, because there was a time when we were like, oh, I can't believe like we're missing out on all this. And so just being able to like recenter yourself and like look at it from an outsider's perspective really helped.
And have your own accomplishments as well.
And at the end of the day, we have, if I could humbly say this, we have helped so many people, and to hear people's stories and to give them guidance and give them truth, and to like help people walk through life that, being honest, people have said that they would have committed suicide and they would have harmed themselves, that our music helped them get out of a bad situation. And we always promote that our music is not the one that saved you, that they had the actions. They're the one that pulled them out of that place. But us being able to kind of be that convey of, here's what helped me, here's what I believe, that's just like a whole nother, I couldn't do that. I don't do that. And I know I should be doing it more in like my normal life, but it's just such an amazing platform to be able to do that. So I'd take that over anything.
Yeah, take it over normal parties, or be able to like sit with people and have them like pour out their hearts to you and tell them their life stories. Like, we've met people, we've gone to Germany. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that if I was doing the normal teenager life. So being able to meet those people and share those experiences with them is over everything. Like she said, it's over any normal experience that we missed out on.
Yeah, and it was, you know, Maggie, I listened to your story. It really rang bells with me. My daughter has similar struggles, and I think about, you wanting to help people, and all of you wanting to sit with fans and help people, and that can be a lot of pressure, especially as you gain celebrity, which you are fastly growing to have that. Can that kind of attention be overwhelming and difficult possibly for you, or is it something that really helps you navigate your own struggles?
I think it's a little bit of both, because there have been times at the merch table where people have been talking to us and the topics have been so heavy, like we've had to have, one of us has had needed to go to the back of the merch table because they're just like, they're crying because it's become so overwhelming. And so we let them we take the time that they need. And so
the connection, because we see each other, like, I can't do this anymore, I need to take a break. And not like because are physically hurt, it's because like emotionally
being able to empathize with people, and you're just really putting yourself in their shoes, and you realize how like heartbreaking their situations are. We have allowed each other to take the time that we need, and so the two of us, whichever two of us, will come together and be like, okay, she'll be back in a little bit, but let's just keep taking pictures and stuff, and like we keep talking to people that way. And so it's something that we always talk about after shows too, making sure everybody's okay. And we also are really big into daily devotions and keeping in the word and keeping our prayer life up and checking on each other to make sure that's okay too, because that's what refuels us. If we're trying to minister to people, if we're not ministering to ourselves, then there's only so much we can give.
Yeah, I think there's a balance, and some days you don't do it. Some days you don't realize it is like a mental thing you have to do. It's not just a thing that pops up, which I believe most things in life are. You have to choose to have that balance. You have to choose to know where to draw the line and say, okay, I need to take a step aside from this. So there's definitely things that can become overwhelming, and there's certain days where it is overwhelming, but then there's other days that it's not, and you know that balance, and you know the balance of either work life or like ministering to those people and hearing their stories, and kind of being that venting place for them. Aware. And so it's definitely a balance that we've had to practice, and practice makes perfect. So we've practiced it a bunch of times, and definitely not perfect at it.
But and being aware too, we couldn't take this all on like individually. Like I've had situations, because I have my own Facebook, and we originally didn't have our own individual social medias because we wanted to focus on the band. Especially it was our parents kind of ushering that, because we were young girls being into this, and they didn't want to have that situation where anything was inappropriate. So now that we're older, like LuLu has her own like social media. Yeah, make wise decisions, be open, being like, hey, well, should I get into this discussion with someone, or how long should it be? Because Maggie, her degree is crisis counseling, so she has a lot of the terminology and the physical schooling and resources, and kind of more discretion in those situations. And we kind of go off of each other and ask questions and be like, hey, well, what would I say here, or should I go further in this situation? Because sometimes you can only say so much, but then you want to like put yourself out there and help them.
But if they're not willing to get the help, you're only going to end up burning yourself out. And so that's something else we also learned, because we were just pouring into people, but they weren't willing to do anything further than that.
And it was just draining us.
So we had to learn to take a step back and
give the resources and let them
be the ones that they decide if they want to take it further or not, because we can't fix somebody's brain for them.
Right. It is so special that you put yourself forth like that for people, for fans, and you care that much. It touches me deeply, and I'm not the only one, for sure. Is it difficult at times to be around some of the debauchery of the rock and roll lifestyle? You know, you're going to be out with Fozzy. Fozzy is not faith-based. Not to say that they're not good guys. I'm just saying that, you know, you're going to get some crazy stuff. It's rock and roll, and, you know, anywhere from, you know, excessive swearing to sex and drugs. Is that something that you find difficult to navigate?
It's definitely like growing up. Obviously, we've learned in it, and we're very in your face. So in a set aside, like what you're just saying, like we love that big being with people, having that energy. Like I jump off a stage and I mosh with people and we love that rock and roll energy. But we separate ourselves and we want to be with people and talk with people, have conversations. And we mostly play general market. So it's not like we're scared of like people who swear. Like, obviously, like people are people.
Yeah,
so.
We grew up in areas like playing in areas like that and playing shows with people like that.
And I think everyone's, especially in the rock and metal, and a lot of people from outside that don't listen to the genre, they think, oh, they're just a bunch of bad people. Everyone in the industry,
they're teddy bears.
They're all teddy bears, and they are so nice. And like, yes, there's some people that are rude or whatever, but mostly everyone is super respectful. And we say our piece, and let's have a great time. If you disagree and we don't agree on the same things, that's okay. Let's continue to have a great time. And
I think it's helped us learn to like stand our ground, because we grew up playing in like bars and venues that sell alcohol and stuff, and so people are willing to like offer you alcohol, and it's like, first, we're underage, but like also like we don't drink, and so like, it's helped us learn to say no to people. And so we're not really able to use it there, but then also like business type situations now.
Everything's a learning lesson.
And so obviously there are areas where it does physically hurt us, like spiritually, just to be around like such excessive swearing, or especially if they're taking the Lord's name in vain and stuff. But we're willing to go into those places and witness people, minister to them, and just be there for somebody to like lean their shoulder on and to listen to them. Because we feel like that is what Jesus himself did. Like he was willing to go to people who were tax collectors, people who were prostitutes, people who were like shunned by the community. And if he was willing to do that, then we should be willing to do that as well.
You don't have to partake in it to be there with them and to.
And I think that's something we're blessed. Our parents come with us, and so they're able to kind of not shield us from it, but help us put up those walls.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Tell me about your Patreon and what you offer for fans. I mean, it is really something special. You have actual prayer groups together. That is just, it's so wonderful what you guys do. I really do appreciate you. Your Patreon, tell us a little bit about it.
We wanted to have another avenue for people to like, because they're always like, we want to support you, but then also be that extra like secrets here, you get it first. And another avenue, we are very knowledgeable in the word, if we can humbly say that. I don't want to be like prideful, but we love talking about deep things,
we love
spiritual,
learning about it too,
prophetical,
and kind of having those discussions as well. It's not so much just like we know everything. It's hey, this is what we've learned, let's discuss it.
Let's learn together. And so each month we have our Patreon Bible study, and we go over some deep things. It's not like, oh, here's a devotional for 10 minutes and let's talk about it. Like, no, we study it out, and we have great conversations with people, and we have like our chat going, so we get to communicate with people and talk about it. So that's always a real blessing. But just to see people that really support us and just believe in us, we get to give them that first information. And how like music videos, new songs.
Because when we were filming the video for Where Were You, we went live in the Patreon. So they were the only ones who could see the set, and they could hear the song before it came out. And they're like, oh my word, Lu's up on this giant like trailer. How did she even get up there?
Everything from merch to anything you can associate with the band. They
get
first.
Monthly like little present things, because our parents are very much like, they love the like subscription boxes and stuff. And so like, it used to be like a GFM subscription box. So I sat for like 3 hours like printing out labels, because we got them little notebook things, and then they're GFM little notebooks. And so it's little things like that, just that they'll look and that they can use every day, and like, oh, this reminds me of GFM. Like, this is so cool that they sent this to me. Or they'll also get stuff that goes with music videos. Like when we did the Smile music video, we sent them a box full of like Smile things. Like there was a little Smile bouncy ball and a little like, I don't like stuff you get at like Party City or at Oriental Trading and stuff like that. And it's just tiny things that remind them of us, and so, and just to thank them for supporting us the way
they kind of just took what would we want of our, like if we had a favorite all-time band and we were super like supportive of them and came to a lot of their shows, like what would we want? And so we kind of do that for our community, because they are so supportive, and that's such a strong unit. Like it is so like the people in there are so supportive, and we just want to give back as much as we can, and whether that's our time or objects or videos, like we just want to give back as much as we can, because we would not be at the place that we are at without all of them, every single individual that has been there, whether it's watching a YouTube video or supporting us for years. Like all of them have impacted our journey.
Mhm.
Man, it's special what you guys have, all around in your fans and your parents, just friends. It's just great what you're doing, and we'll have links to all of that where you can go see the band online, be a part of the Patreon community. What can we expect from you in the future as far as releasing music? Is it going to be? I know a lot of people are releasing singles. You've got an EP. Will we see a full-length record? What are the plans for the future, or are there plans?
There are lots of big things coming really soon. We just posted on our Facebook, like there's a huge announcement coming soon, and we didn't get anybody a date, and so everyone's like freaking out. They're like, "Oh my word, what is it?" So it's like kind of like 3 different big things wrapped up together, and so we're super excited about that. That'll be announced like within a couple days, actually. And then something CJ, we use her Facebook to like tease people because she posts out stuff like secret stuff, but we know she's doing it. Like she comes to us before she posts that most of the time. Sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she just lets it out. But
I know Maggie would kill me. So like I would rather have a better relationship than for likes and hearts.
So there's something that she had like posted on, like a big thing. That's still in the works. But it's with a company that we've been working with recently called Gloomy Bear. So there's something that's with that. That'll actually be with the tour. It'll be available then, I think. And then
There's
another
thing that doesn't even have a date yet, and it might even be like years from now that like happens. But it's another one of the things where you're like, do you have plan Bs and stuff? It's like a thing that doesn't even really have to do with music in a sense.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of a bunch of fun little things and a bunch of fun big things.
So lots of announcements very soon, and then within like the whole year, it's going to be announcements like a lot.
The Fozzy tour that you mentioned, we're really excited to go on that and meet a bunch of people. We're going to a lot of like big cities that we have not been to yet, and a lot of longtime fans are going to be able to drive 10 minutes to come see us instead of like 4 hours. So it's really cool, and we're really excited. And there's a lot of dates. So if you want to come see us, there's so many dates and so many chances to come see us in a lot of like big cities. So
and we do have music. New music is coming out pretty soon.
That is really great news. LuLu, CJ, Maggie, you guys, I love you guys. I look so forward to seeing you. What you're doing is incredible. People check it out. The music is fantastic. And all, besides all of the beautiful things that you do from your heart for people, you guys are great musicians. I mean, you just, and we almost forgot about the music and all this time. And that's okay because you guys are such special people. The music, check it out. It's heavy. It hits you right in the gut. This is heavy music with a great message from great people. It is a privilege to talk to you guys. I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you on April 2nd.
Yay!
All right. GFM, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.